Hello everyone and welcome into Talking Fitchburg on this Tuesday, November 16th. I am Andrew Bamlett, filling in for Jeremy today, and he'll be back tomorrow. And we'll get rolling with the show tomorrow as normally planned with Mr. Crosby. But today you get me. Welcome in. Today we have some quick headlines, and then we're talking all about diabetes today. We're going to be replaying our Diabetic Talk for Diabetes Month with Andrea Miller from Hy-Vee, and we'll also be in the guest segment talking with her as well, doing a A1C test with Jeremy, so we get to see that happen in person and get the results right there for Jeremy, and it's pretty cool. So we'll be doing that today in the digest and the guest segment. But we'll get right to it, and we start with this year we do not have the regular Children's Holiday Party, as due to COVID we'll be sticking with just Talk with Santa, which will be held right here live on Fact TV on the COM channel, Friday, December 10th, 5 p.m. Via Zoom. Now reserve your spot today at fitchburgwi.gov. Join us and have a good time. Let the kiddos see Santa. Get that last minute list together so he's ready for the holidays and gets you those presents, as all the kids love seeing Santa Claus. And, we got the connections here at the city, so we get to find Santa out there and get him here on Zoom. All right, also we have a holiday prep health checklist. Before the hustle and bustle of the holiday season, be sure to get out and get your flu shot. Take your friends and family along as well. And get protected for all the celebrations ahead. So you see the checklist there: shopping, baking, wrapping the gifts, holiday card list. All those are done last night. Get that flu shot, folks. Helps you out, and again, protects you to have all those celebrations coming up in the next few months, and all those potential work parties, holiday parties, all that kind of stuff too. So get out there and get your flu shot and be ready and safe for the flu season. Also, don't let your fear of needles keep you from getting COVID-19 and flu vaccinations. That can be life-saving. This is from the CDC, so tips to help you overcome your fear. Bring a friend or a family member. Distract yourself with music, conversation, or for kids, a toy. And tell your vaccinator you're afraid. They may be able to help you relax as well. I would say that's very important. Tell them as well, so they know to anticipate you being a little, a little scared of needles. I have a few kids that are that way, even some older kids. So definitely a thing, but don't let that keep you from getting the vaccination of any kind, flu vaccination, COVID. It doesn't matter. Make sure you let them know so you can get that done correctly. Last here we have. A lot's going to change. This is a nurse-family partnership. Are you pregnant and know someone who is? Join us for a virtual event on the 18th of this month from 6 to 7 and learn more about free personal nurse could support you. The first 25 moms to be that register and attend will get a $25 Visa gift card. That sounds pretty cool. So this is through the Public Health Madison and Dane County. Again, this is this Thursday, 6 to 7. There's a bit.ly link there. We'll have that up on the headlines so you'll be able to get there and sign up for this program for those moms to be. All right, that's going to do it for the headlines today. Again, we're going to talk with Andrea Miller in the Digest and the Guest segment about National Diabetes Month and also getting A1C testing. All right, you're watching Talking Fitchburg.
You could be spreading the coronavirus without realizing you have it. So follow guidance from authorities where you live and do your part. It's important to limit in-person interaction with anyone outside of your immediate household, but phone and video chat are safe ways to connect. It's also important to limit any social gathering. This advice applies to people of any age, including teens and younger adults. Visit coronavirus.gov for the latest information.
After you joined our family, it was like, I really do feel complete now.
hearts are made stronger by how we treat others.
Put her there.
The light you share can impact those around you, but so can the darkness.
Later, twerps.
Did Pete saying mean things bother ya?
So when you reach out to another person, take a moment to consider how they will feel and let your heart be the key to making a difference. Because of you, someone's entire day, year, or even life can change.
In every heart, there's hope.
Brandon met a girl on a dating app. He finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving.
She must be a keeper.
We're all just trying to keep things running for those who rely on us. That's why we don't have time to be sick with the flu.
We don't have time for delays.
We don't have time for spills.
Next.
We don't have time for setbacks. Let's be real.
Getting the flu shot
helps you fight the flu.
Get a flu shot for yourself and those around you too.
Well, welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining me today from Hy-Vee right here in Dane County, because she's at all of them. But we like her when she comes to Fitchburg. It's Andrea Miller. Andrea, welcome back to the show. How are you doing this November?
I am doing great. Thank you.
Well, we're glad you're here. And this November, as every November is National Diabetes Month. And what a great time to talk about diabetes and as a whole. And what is, it can be scary. There's so many different things to talk about. And I've already picked your brain enough before we started this, so we'll jump right into this. In general, I think we want to share just a little general information and then some more Q&A. But in general, how does blood sugar work, and what's happening with somebody that has diabetes?
Right. So it's a very good question to start, because there's a lot of unknown, and sometimes we can generate fear in the unknown. So education can be very powerful for people to start. And a couple things to think about with blood sugar is we all have blood sugar, okay? The whole intent throughout the day is for our blood sugar to go up and down, okay? So we do want a rise, and we do expect a fall in blood sugar for everybody, regardless of diabetes status, okay? The other thing to take into consideration is that our blood sugar and the way that it protects us, keep that in mind, that it's affected by other things, not just by the food we eat. So for instance, when we're under stress, our body responds by pulling sugar out of storage and shooting it into our bloodstream so we have energy, okay? Our bodies are designed to physically get out of danger, regardless if we're under emotional stress or mental strain, not physical danger. That's how our bodies are designed. So if you kind of have that mental picture, when we're under stress, the body shoots blood sugar into the bloodstream so you can flee that stressful situation.
Nope, go ahead. Yeah, I was just gonna say it's something that I don't think that I've heard over the years, that stress does play a big role in that. So sort of surprising in some factors. And I feel like this November, compared to we've been dealing with the pandemic and stuff, so I feel like everybody's probably a little bit on the stress side. So very interesting that that's tied to it.
And we probably all know someone, if it's not ourselves, a close family member, a friend, a coworker, we all know somebody who's affected by diabetes, or may have, pre-diabetes looming, from some of their doctor visits, that kind of thing. So it's good to educate yourself and become aware of what you can do to help prevent or help delay the onset of diabetes, and kind of take that control back. So it's not such a scary thing. And it doesn't seem so, not manageable. There's a lot we can do.
Absolutely. And that kind of takes us to our next question here, is what should someone do when they do find out either they're pre-diabetic, which I've said for years, everybody's pre-diabetic, until you clinically you're said that. But anyway, and then diabetes as a whole. So where do you go from there? Because that, like you said, it's pretty intense news.
Right. So on one hand, I would take it seriously. I would take it as a serious situation. However, not panic. So what we do know is panic and worry and stress do not help our blood sugar and do not help with diabetes as a whole. So taking it seriously without panicking is my first recommendation. And then the next thing is to look at overall lifestyle factors. What's pretty typical is we like to kind of hone in on carbohydrates and stop eating carbohydrates, stop eating sugar, cut everything out. And it's kind of this extreme reaction. And my recommendation is actually to look at your lifestyle as a whole. Okay. How often are you eating? Are you nourishing your body during the day? Do you drink water? Do you move your body? Are you sleeping well? Try to get kind of an overall picture, and then think about like what's in excess or really lacking, and then start there. So if somebody drinks, lots and lots of soda, that may be a good place to start. If somebody's only eating once a day and nothing the rest of the day, that might be a good place to start. Okay. So I kind of think of looking at where is excess coming in. Most of us kind of know if something we're kind of doing too much of or not at all. So kind of looking at the extremes and starting there first, and kind of start to normalize some of those lifestyle habits, kind of normalize some of that behavior, and then take it one thing at a time.
Yeah, if you've watched these segments with us, there's one piece of advice I think you and I am on the very, very, very slow track of changing my lifestyle, but that's okay. And I think that's so important, and especially tying it here is everybody's body's different and everybody moves at a different pace, and trying to make those changes just right away, and you're gonna, it's tough. And I think a big question for a lot of people, and this was one that I was curious about too, the different types of sugar, and should you, whether you do focus on the carbs, or how is it working to you? What's the difference in the sugars that you are taking in?
Yeah, so there's lots of different sugars, more than we even realize. There's sugar in fruit and milk sugar and grain sugar and cane sugar and beet sugar, all from different sources. So the general information to take from that is the differences in sugar has more to do with digestion than it does necessarily to do with blood sugar. So with that being said, you can kind of lump all sugar and all carbohydrates into the same pot when you're talking about how does it affect blood sugar, okay, in general. Now, there's going to be some sugars that will tend to spike the blood sugar, and sometimes that's desirable. Somebody with a low blood sugar might need some orange juice to, get in there really quick to kind of get them back on track. And then there's some other carbohydrates that have a lot of fiber in them, for instance, that slow everything down. So it's a nice steady increase and a nice steady decrease. So how our blood sugar is affected does have something to do with the type of sugar or carbohydrate, but in general, we focus on carbohydrates as a whole. And we tried to eat at one time some foods with carbohydrate, some without. That's where you get that balance. So when you have that kind of regular intake and balanced intake, that's when you have the best chance for a slow, steady increase of blood sugar and a slow, steady decline.
What happens for family? So if you are diagnosed or pre-diabetic, whatever the case may be, and you're looking at this like, well, I've got a family, and how am I going to eat? I don't want to pull all the carb. What's good for me or bad for whatever the case may be. How do you pull? What's your recommendation when it's a family member that's just been diagnosed and trying to find the right food for everyone?
That's an excellent question, because it's usually not affecting somebody by themselves, right? It's usually a broader effect. And so the good news is, and I tell people this all the time, that we should all eat as if we have diabetes.
Why didn't you tell me that to begin with? Man.
We all have blood sugar, right? We all want it to rise at a normal pace and drop at a normal pace. And keep in mind, what's going on is somebody who has diabetes, their blood sugar isn't coming down on its own far enough it isn't coming up on its own well enough. Okay. And so that's where the misstep is with somebody who has diabetes. So if you think about that, everybody's blood sugar goes up and down. So we want to make that as a normal process as possible, so we don't stress our body out, regardless of our age or gender or family history of diabetes. So with that, think about, eating whole foods, eating foods from the food groups, having that balance of carbohydrate and non-carbohydrate foods. And that all has to do with energy level too. So anybody who doesn't have diabetes, they're going to benefit from the fact that they have a nice steady energy level because they're not putting in a bunch of sugar and nothing else, or no carbohydrate and just, meat and cheese. And so whenever we have that balance, we benefit from our blood sugar, our blood sugar benefits, but we also benefit in other ways. So the whole family can participate. I think on another note, one of the big misconceptions too is to think I have to start eating everything sugar-free. I have to buy all these special foods and special products. And that's not necessarily the case either. When we start looking at whole foods that don't have carbohydrate in them, and you eat them with the foods that do, you naturally create that balance without having to purchase special foods to make it happen.
Yeah, I was blown away by the carbs that just because again, bad thinking on my part, but just thinking of sugary drinks, sugary foods, unhealthy foods, and how that all tied together and puts can put you into this spot. It's an interesting thing, and I can see rushing out and purchasing some books. May or may not have done that, but in a sense that, yeah, you feel like, oh my gosh, I got to change everything, and I got to watch for sugar-free this, and it's a lot of education. And I think talking to experts like yourself is a great starting point to really put it in perspective. And as you said at the start of this interview, is just you just got to kind of just slow down. It's a scary finding out, but there's so many paths forward because we've learned so much throughout the as time goes on.
Right. A lot of research on a lot of going to looking at our lifestyle factors and how that kind of plays a role, because we think of it as specifically related to carbohydrate, but it's not just about food. There's other aspects of it too that can continue to help with where we're at.
All right, Andrea, thank you so much for your time. I know we could spend a lot more time talking on this topic and all the topics. Certainly go back and check out Andrea and the information that she shared here on the show. And Andrea, if people do have questions and want to learn more, where can they find you?
Yes. So can reach right out on our website at Hy-Vee.com and go to the dietitian page and can search me by city or state. Otherwise, we've provided my direct email and phone line as well.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. And you stay safe out there, and we'll look forward to checking back in with you next month.
Sounds great.
All right. Andrea Miller said right here in Fitchburg in Dane County. She's the dietitian and our dietitian. I say this all the time, TF's dietitian for sure. So we appreciate that. All right. Well, let's take a quick break. More to come. You're watching Talking Fitchburg.
See on page 4 that the projections need to be blood next Thursday.
Seriously? Thursday? Can't do that.
This is really inconvenient.
I have yoga that day. I have no time for this. So I can't do Thursday, but I can do Friday.
Disasters don't plan ahead. You can. Talk to your loved ones about how you're going to be ready in an emergency. Don't wait. Communicate.
Type 2 diabetes can have a big impact on your life, but how can it be prevented? Well, the first step is knowing if you have pre-diabetes, a serious medical condition that puts you at high risk for type 2 diabetes. 1 in 3 American adults has pre-diabetes, but more than 80% don't know they have it. The good news is, pre-diabetes can be reversed, and for many people, healthy changes in their daily routine can make a big difference. Take the 1-minute risk test today at doihavepre-diabetes.org.
If you love them enough to suck the snot out of their nose at 4 a.m., then surely you'll check NHTSA.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg, out of the studio over at Andrea's big kitchen. That's what I'm calling it, whether it is or isn't. Maybe a community room. Doesn't matter. Andrea Miller, our dietitian and dietitian for Hy-Vee. This looks a little intense.
Oh, it's not too intense. It's pretty cool. We have a rapid test machine for HbA1c.
What? I'm not even going to repeat it. I know A1C, but tell us what's that about.
Yes, so essentially it's a 3-month average of your blood sugar. And with the machine that we have, we do a very small amount of blood, just a little finger poke, put it into a cassette, enter it into the machine, in about 4 minutes we'll have your number.
How, when it comes to the A1C, how much or how often should you get that checked?
It's a good question. I mean, it's an average of 3 months of your blood sugar, so you don't need to get it done more than every 3 months. You can talk with your doctor about that to see what the monitoring should look like. It's really going to vary for most people based on what the number is. So if it's within a decent range, it might not need to be checked as often. If it's on the high side, or we're looking at prevention or different factors, then it might be better to check it more often.
So Andrea, for people who have gotten this test done, and I'm going to say I've gotten this test done before, either you fast or you don't. With this specific test, are we fasting today or are we not?
So for this rapid test, we do not need to fast. It's not a fasting blood sugar, which is also a nice feature of it because there isn't really much you have to do in order to get it done.
In the meantime, while between these tests and checking your blood sugar, if you see really extensive changes, would that make you want to have to get this test sooner? Or so if your blood sugar starts to range, and I know that's really loaded because it could be medicine, could be food, could be a bunch of things, but what advice would you have on that?
Yeah, if that was the case, I would check in with your doctor, your medical care team, because there could be something else going on. You don't want to wait until the 3 months. This doesn't tell everything. And so if you are seeing some really odd numbers, or really high or really low or really out of range, you would want to contact your clinic right away, because it would want to be addressed sooner than waiting to get this test done.
All right, well, I said I would be the guinea pig today and do this, so we are going to go and work our way through this. I wasn't going to say procedure, but I don't know what else to say, Andrea.
It's a screening. It's a screening. It's a finger prick blood test. So I'm just going to need one finger, whichever you prefer.
Whichever you prefer.
Don't be scared, it's not.
I naturally shake, so don't worry about that.
And I just need a tiny amount of blood for this one. You're going to see the pipette is very small. And then what I'll do is I will get the cassette ready. It's temperature and time controlled, so that's why I have to do things in a certain order. I'm going to do a little bit of a prick here. Bring a little dollop of blood to the top, and then fill just that little portion in the front. Okay.
And you said time and temperature control. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and then I just insert it into the machine here. It'll check it to make sure everything looks right first, so we don't have to do it again.
Well, on my part, I hope not.
Okay, and then it's good to go. So it'll read it, like I said, in about 4 minutes, make some interesting noises as it's doing its thing, and then we'll have your result in the form of a %.
All right, so the machine has finished making all the funky sounds, as you said.
Yes.
So tell me the good news, Doc.
6.2%.
No, it isn't.
Yes.
No, it isn't.
Yes.
No, it isn't.
Yes.
My guess was 8.
I would not lie.
So actually, and if you're okay, I'm going to share this. We had a little conversation beforehand that I was telling Andrea that from the first time I had this test to now, I had changed my diet, but I was being a little bit lax, and that happens.
Right.
And it's okay, right?
Right. What is a common practice for people to go through, which is very normal and very fine, is usually when we have this kind of situation come up, we might go to the extreme to start and recognize we don't really want to go back to what we were doing before, so let's find something in the middle most importantly, what you can keep doing, what you can maintain. So making some positive changes that you can keep doing long term, that's what's going to keep numbers like these consistently going in the right direction, versus just doing something extreme for a couple months and then stopping it and then going backward. So that's a good thing to keep in mind. And then part of, learning as you go is all part of it too. So so you don't necessarily have to define it as good and bad, but it's just kind of, maybe you'll have a little misstep, learn from it, and then move forward with something else.
If somebody is or is labeled as a pre-diabetic, would you recommend that they get this test done? And it might be that they're just told, but the doctor's not really moving. But if you see a free screening being done somewhere,
sure.
Is it worth coming in and having a conversation?
It is. I mean, anytime there's a screening like this available, it's just good information to know. And then you can, and do remember it's a screening. So any numbers that we do, whatever kind of testing we're doing as a screening, we never diagnose anything with these numbers. Right. It's just information. So, but it's good information to know. And so that's why we offer these regularly in the community, just so you can kind of keep an eye on it if you're not getting it done in the clinic, or if it prompts you to kind of start seeing somebody in the clinic.
Perfect. Well, if people do want to learn more or just have questions about this, or where they can find it maybe, or just overall talking diabetes, because it's affecting a lot of people, and it's a lot of information, as we talked the other day. So where can people find you at?
Sure. So we have my email and my direct customer line available. We also have the link to connect to our virtual platform. Any of those ways I can talk to customers and then talk about any future screenings we have available.
All right, Andrew, thank you so much. I'm glad it was low. I'm blown away, but we'll take it for today. Appreciate the time, and look forward to talking to you real soon.
Great.
All right, we'll take a quick break. More to come. You're watching Talking Fitchburg.
Como padre, todos los días son un desafío. Y hay que estar ahí presentes. No importa lo cansado que uno esté, hay que estar ahí presentes para ellos. Cuando los niños aprenden algo nuevo, es ese momento mágico y especial. Y creo que presenciar ese momento es mi favorito.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here. Wait. What?
I can't drive.
Why? I'm high. Oh.
Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Ending the show today. I want to thank Andrea Miller for joining us again for National Diabetes Month and doing the A1C testing with Jeremy. Always nice to see that you can get out there and find somewhere to get the testing, kind of show what the testing's all about, and it's not too bad. And Jeremy, congratulations on the good A1C numbers. Good job, man. All right, that's going to wrap it up for today. Stay connected with Fact TV right here, folks, everywhere. We are everywhere. Cable TV, social media, Facebook, YouTube, streaming channels. We're on Apple TV, Fire TV, Roku. Find us using the Cablecast ScreenWeave app. Find us there, folks. And, of course, FitchburgWI.gov. Until tomorrow, everyone, have a wonderful day.